Good afternoon, everybody. My name is AJ, and welcome to another episode of Untalked. Today, our topic is how to gain social skills fast with our special guest, Bachmann Hannes, and our other co host, Francesco Diacomo. All right. So, you might be asking, why is Hannes here? And I'll let Hannes explain that himself. So, Hannes, what do you do?
Yeah, so I am. Hello, everybody. First of all, I'm Hannes. Nice to be here with you. I am teaching men how to get more successful with girls, especially men that feel social anxiety, but also men that could imagine having more potential in a dating life that already have success. So that's what I do.
Yeah, so how would you categorize that? Like, would you categorize as like a relationship coach, dating coach, or psychology
mindset
coach?
coach.
How would you categorize, or is it just all in one?
Well, somehow those things correlate in a lot of scenarios. Like if you don't have any idea about psychology, you also have no social calibration. You'll be able to, in social situations, calibrate less. So it sort of sticks together. But I wouldn't tell myself a relationship coach, because especially when it comes to relationships, it's like focusing on one person, especially I think, and yeah, my business is equating with as many people as possible. I wouldn't call it like hookup culture, but
Yeah.
it's focused, mainly focused on getting to know people. And I think if you know like big variety of people, big variety of different people, that's also the best point to start from, to focus on one person more.
Yeah, and also I guess it's also pretty then connected to developing better version of yourself.
Yeah, true. Because like going out and obviously also facing rejection when you go out, it strengthens you. It strengthens your view on other people and makes you more self-assured. And when you
It
go
improves.
Exactly.
It's a lot of personal development, right?
exactly, and that on the other hand, doing that prepares you better on for example going into relationships or
Talking to strangers.
Having
Showing to
more
strangers,
abundant
yeah.
also mindset
Yeah.
about everything,
Yeah, true.
being more comfortable in uncomfortable situations and
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
also.
100%. And what leads you like to being passionate about this topic?
Well, first of all, like I really came from a point of frustration. So earlier in my YALF, I was not very successful with girls, and also when I went out, mostly with my male friends, and we were all like drinking and getting shit faced, and it was not very girls based. And then one time I had like the frustration seeing, oh, I can't talk to girls, and basically my friends couldn't either, but they were not so frustrated about it. And then I really started thinking, well, I have to change something. And yeah, I sort of made a science out of it, going out talking to girls, and it is a very, yeah,
Intricate.
what,
Very intricate.
yeah, it's a very step-by-step way to learn it,
Okay.
but in the end it's the best foundation to teach other people, because when you have people that are naturally good with girls that didn't learn anything, their advice is more based on themselves, and as a person that is not in the same category like them, it's hard to apply their
Yeah, 100%.
tips. Yeah.
100%. And do you think that is it how much do you think is important if you're like a guy to approach a lot of girls and to have
Yeah.
like that feminine energy trying to
Like what are the benefits to actually like say,
exactly.
for example, I think the core thing what you do is like you approach women, or you approach women then on the streets. What is the benefit for like a person to do that, like once a week or so?
It depends on your motivation, first of all. But for me, and what I would also advise everyone who does it, do not focus on the girls, and you do it basically to do it and not to reach anything. And that's, or has always been for me, the core motivation to improve myself, to get better social skills. And I see girls as something to practice it on, right? To practice those social skills. And of course, the byproduct is that you will have success with girls. But especially in the beginning, when you start, you will fail. And when you are outcome dependent and thinking like, whoa, how many bitches do I have to talk to until I can fuck? If you have that sort of mindset, you will give up, because you're focused on an outcome. And I think like maybe also goes in the direction of the Stoic philosophy, like focus on doing, not on reaching. And
yeah,
that's what I think.
100%.
Yeah.
And how much do you think is important volume when
Talking
you
to
wanna
girls.
when talking to girls and when you wanna gain more social skills, like
So you mean how
with
many girls do I
girls.
have to talk to until I can?
Do you think if there's number like do you think is that important to have
Like is
volume?
a thing like I think Atomic Habits has it,
Mhm.
where if you want to get really good at something really quickly, it's not the quality of it, it's how much you do
Yeah.
it. It's the quantity. So I think
Mhm.
how do you see that
I
in that
think
life?
I think you have to, like, the underlining thing is always volume. Like without volume, you cannot improve.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say reflection is also very important. So when you say I do 10 approaches every day for 6 months, and afterwards I will reflect on myself all the time and write like a report. What did I do good? Where can I improve? What are the pitfalls? If you do that for 6 months, I guarantee you, no matter where you start from, you will improve a lot in 6 months.
Yeah.
And probably after 6 months, if you really do it consistently every day, like going out, talking to girls, reflect what you did wrong. After 6 months, you will be top 5% of men.
But what's the goal with this then? Like, I mean, okay, yeah, we were talking about like, okay, how you got into it, what the benefits are, but what is the entire goal of approaching women, you
So,
know,
so the
on
like
the
the,
street, just strangers then?
yeah. So for me, like all the time, the goal was my self improvement,
Yeah.
and of course, as a man, you sort of, I would say, identify with your success with the other gender. That's another thing.
Yeah.
So like when you see other people having fun with girls in clubs and seeing them making out and see other men having cool relationships to girls, having a mindset or a lifestyle of abundance, and you there sitting having nothing.
Yeah,
Being
alone.
That-
scarce about it also.
Yeah, that triggers
It's a
you,
big thing.
that
Yeah.
triggers. It's like same. It's the question. How do you react on it? And I've seen so many men saying, "Oh, those men are all stupid. They're assholes, and girls only like assholes." And that was like the victim mindset.
Yeah.
But I thought like, bro, there has to be a way to become that way, and that's like
You're not-
desperation and inspiration. I think the inspiration is the better.
And do you think
side.
you need to be
It's
an
not just
asshole to
talent.
get girls?
I don't. I think that assholes get girls, of course, but not because.
Like, why do they get girls? Why do assholes get
Yeah,
girls?
that's the discussion. Assholes, because the saying is no, it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And it is true that assholes are attractive because they have male traits. They have male traits.
Masculine traits, I mean.
Yeah.
Masculine traits, male, or they behave very masculine
Mm-hmm.
and not in a good way, but they behave masculine.
Can you name like a couple?
Masculine traits.
Yeah, like that
Like-
that an asshole has that are very
Yeah, like
attractive too.
They don't put the girl on a pedestrian or how it's called
Pedestal.
A
Pedestal.
pedestal. They have other things going on for themselves except for the girls. They don't give a girl like a whole validation, and that's what a girl is or a woman is attracted to when she's not the center of attention of a man's life. And that's for example, when you're an asshole, you don't care too much about one single girl in comparison to the nice guy who brings her flowers, who washes her car, who's repairing her, I don't know, her apartment when something breaks. He's giving her so, even if the things that he does are nice,
Mm-hmm.
he's giving her so much attention, and that subcommunicates. Like, what would it subcommunicate to you if I would every day like clean your shoes? You wouldn't think like, bro, this motherfucker has nothing else to do than cleaning my shoes. What is wrong with this guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Even if the act of cleaning your shoes is something very
it's something a nice
Nice.
gesture.
you would basically think, what's wrong with this guy? Like, you would not perceive my behavior as high value. You would
Okay.
think, if this guy cleans my shoes every day, he's not like worth talking to or something.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's the same thing with an asshole. He may be an asshole, but you still have those. Or
Well, what
has those
makes him an
traits.
asshole then? If he has masculine traits, like, are there not like people that also have masculine traits but are not assholes?
Yeah, that's also possible.
And but also like, what makes people assholes or what,
Like,
men
like
assholes?
being not or dishonest.
Or this not educated, I would say also. Like when people like
Educated.
like 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 in
What
the
do you mean
sense that-
educated?
like
You mean socially educated or?
yeah, in the sense that
Or like they have social skills?
Like they're like masculine men
Yeah.
that can be as like Hannes said, not doing too many nice things, but it's not because they do it on purpose, and many assholes do it on purpose. That's why maybe they are called assholes.
No.
Maybe they do it because they actually have really important things to do, and usually they can make up for it, I would say, in some ways, or like just say to the girl in a nice way that they don't have time. When it comes to asshole, maybe they just ghost the girl.
They just ghost a girl, but isn't
Yeah.
that like from a girl's perspective, right?
That's
Mister?
more sexy. The
Is,
ghost.
is that more attractive? Like when a guy suddenly ghosts you than saying to a girl, "Oh, I can't talk with you because of this and this, so,
So-
please forgive me."
Yeah, so like the question was like what are asshole traits, and now we figured out, for example, ghosting would be like an asshole move,
Yeah.
and then it's really much depending on the girl's self-esteem. So if the girl has a very low self-esteem, or people in general have low self-esteem, then they tend to be attracted by those guys who are assholes.
Yeah.
And I know several stories with girls always ending up with a guy that's like abusing her physically, like hitting her, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
performing
Exactly.
violence.
Because there's some sometimes like I look at these things, right? There's a girl and a guy, they're in a relationship, and the guy is very abusive,
Yeah.
physically, and but the girl still loves him, you know, and it's even
Yeah.
like
Almost they like it.
yeah, they like
Yeah,
it, like
yeah.
okay, almost, and then
Yeah.
something happens, they get sad for like a day or two, but after that, they're even more attracted to them now.
Yeah, it's I
I think
think
it relates to identity also.
yeah, it has to do with identity, with your underlying thinking patterns,
Mhm.
because most times people with low self-esteem experienced several things in the past that made them low self-esteem, like bullying, or being hit by your father, or whatever. Some kind of bad behavior that you've experienced makes you think that you are deserving this kind of behavior, and therefore your ego searches people that treat you the same way to confirm your
Beliefs.
self perception. And that's why like a low self-esteem person will always be attracted to people that treat that person low self-esteem, like, or like shit. And when you treat a low self-esteem person in a nice way, all right, then the person might think, oh, that's nice, but subconsciously they will think, who is this guy to treat me like as a self-perception as shit?
Yeah.
Nice. And then it gives like sort of a dissociation, and they will fuck you up. So that's it.
Yeah, that's us. And so, do you think it's bad when it comes to dating to have to do nice things, like nice gestures?
You mean if if that is a good thing?
Is it a if it is a bad thing?
I think it depends again where the
the
niceness
girl.
comes from, because when you're nice to be liked, then it's a bad niceness. I would rather be an asshole than being nice because I want to be liked.
Yeah. So
That's
be
the thing.
more like if it's unauthentic, nice, then makes sense. If not, doesn't.
Yes, like your niceness should not come from a place of a contract.
Okay, then I do this nice thing because I want something back from you.
Right. Before
Okay.
before you do that, I would like personally advise you rather be an asshole than performing such kind of niceness. On the other hand, if your niceness comes from a place where you don't see a contract, it's also called like an invisible contract. You don't expect the other person to give something back, and you're just really giving because you want to give. That's a good niceness. But like most people give, I would say, because
They want
They-
something back.
they want something back, or they
Expected.
they expect something, or they see themselves in a like superior situation afterwards. You know,
Yeah.
like donating to charity, and afterwards you can say, well,
I
look,
donate to charity.
I donate to
like, I
charity,
donate
yeah.
to charity. That's bad niceness. Yeah, that's what I say.
Bad niceness. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
And okay, so now we understand. But what is like, what would categorize a guy who has masculine traits but is still a nice and genuine person? Then
You mean what differentiates this person from an asshole?
yeah,
Yeah.
and like what differentiates that to a nice guy?
I think first of all, the way of communication, how you communicate something, and yeah, when you tell a girl or a person in general, you have something to do. You can do that in a nice way, or you can be very like rude and aggressive against that person. You can insult that person personally without for no reason. That would be an asshole. But I mean, I can still say to someone that I have no time, or I don't want to do
Yeah, exactly.
that and that in a nice way. And that's, for me, at least, the definition of or the difference between being an asshole and being a just high value to communicate things that you don't hurt people. And yeah, that's
And one thing I wanted to ask, as the title of this video, "Gaining Social Skills Fast," is what do you think is the best and fastest way to approach
Or just
gaining
actually
social
just gaining
skills?
social skills, but
Yeah.
I think we should first define what social skills, are there that you can increase.
so
What are different social skills?
social skills. So I would say social skills. Basically, you cannot categorize them so much. I would more focus on underlining frameworks that you have, and those frameworks make your social skills better. So, say for example, your self perception or those underlining frameworks are very like shitty. They're not on point.
Yeah.
Then or they're just unattractive. Then it will be hard for you to communicate with other people, and that it has lots to do with self-esteem. So when I think that I'm worth talking to, right?
Sorry for interrupting,
Yeah.
but I think we should search out what is the definition of social skills, and then we can just
Okay.
go
So
from
we
there.
start with social skills.
Yeah.
The definition, like for me, social skill definition is like this, the ability to get in contact with people and to connect with people.
The ability to communicate with someone, correct?
Yeah, that's for me social skills.
Oh yeah, see, yeah, the ability to understanding of social skills has come a long way since Labat. No, this is not it. Why are we on Scholar, man? Yeah, is any competence facilitating interaction, communication with others, where social rules and relations are created, communicated, and exchanged in verbal and non-verbal ways. So, with this, we know there's there's a verbal social skills. You have non-verbal. Non-verbal is like body language. Verbal is how you
Eye
talk.
contact also, maybe.
Yeah, eye contact definitely.
Yeah.
It's like how you talk, tone of voice, these things, correct?
Yeah.
And say, for example, someone who doesn't interact that often, like with, or doesn't communicate with people that often, either their social skills decrease or they never really develop. And you mentioned to me before that because of approaching strangers, doesn't exactly need to be women, you're just approaching strangers, this develops your social skills really rapidly because you can see what people like as in you know what good is.
Yeah, especially I think the most crucial thing is that you need to do it consciously. Like in the sense that you go there, approach it and consciously say, okay, and already like Hannes said, okay, what can be improved? What have I done good? Because if you just approach people like that and without like taking like remembering the last approach you had without making any improvements, just using the same
I get
framework
it, but
without changing
it's
anything.
it's
I don't
it's
think so.
the iterative
Yeah, exactly.
cycle, but that's
Iterative cycle.
definitely how it is.
I think we have to sort of connect that to the underlining thinking patterns, because again, when you go out and your self-perception is good or attractive, so that you think I'm a love-worthy guy, I have the entitlement to talk to anyone, I'm a social person, I'm giving value to people, people can be happy to talk to me, I'm cool, other people are cool, let's be cool together. That's a mindset of getting in contact with people. And when you're deeply convinced of those facts, then every social interaction will, no matter on how your body language moves are, every interaction will be much better. Because and that's also why you cannot learn body language. Body language is determined by your self-perception.
Self-perception,
If you think of yourself, well, I am not worth talking to, then you may like act like you were confident, like haha, but
Yeah,
in
it looks
the end
even weirder.
it looks
Yeah.
weird, and you're
It looks
And how do you think you
unauthentic.
can change that?
yeah, that's it. That's when I would link it to like going out. When you just get rejected very often, and when you just talk to a lot of people, you prove your brain that nothing happens. That when you get rejected,
You don't die.
you don't die, nothing happens, and then you get in a state where you begin to believe in those things. Because by nature we are scared of rejection, we're scared of talking to girls because like biologically we're just scared. And when you go out and you prove your brain nothing fucking happens, you will become much more relax in their actions, and you're underlining. But the thing I want to say is, it needs action to prove your brain that nothing will happen.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah,
But
that's
that's also from
interesting.
Atomic Habits. I think another thing that they said, like action can change your identity. Like if you do it consistently,
It
you can slowly
supports.
change your beliefs, and then gonna change your.
It supports your
Perception.
identity exactly. So
Yeah.
like depending on, for example, as you said, I have a mindset. I have a lot of partners or potential mates.
Lots of
Lots of
opportunities. Lots of beaches.
Potential mates.
Basically a pimp.
Yeah, and then you would do certain actions like almost train yourself. I think like say for example, the action is that you approach them. The action is to make them laugh. These things, and the more you do it, the better you become at it. But also, it supports that you are that.
Yeah.
Am I correct, or
Yeah,
do you have
this would be
a
like, yeah, it's like proving. But that's exactly the point.
Proving
You cannot,
yourself, yeah.
you cannot think yourself in another identity.
Mhm.
You have to
act
do,
yourself?
do something, and I think every change in your self perception requires an action.
Mhm.
And because I see so many people like talking, oh, you have to be confident, you have to do that, you have to think like that, you have to think that other people like you have to be convinced that girls want to talk to you, but you cannot think and therefore become. You have to do and therefore become, and that's what I think is so important.
Yeah.
Because
You sent me a
Yeah.
video regarding like relationships, etc. In the video, he said that we needed to make sure that before doing all of these, we should like increase our value as male. And there's like 4 aspects. I don't remember it. Yeah.
that's mainly for relationships,
Oh, okay. I
and
thought-
and it basically says that it has to do with polarity, but it says that before you enter a relationship, you should make sure that you can be alone. Because you can be alone. You have a
Yeah.
mission in life. You have something you work for, and you have a higher variety of girls you can choose from
Easily,
to
Or
make your
men,
girlfriend.
or men.
And that's all of those things are meant to prevent you from scarcity, and because people who pick from scarcity normally make a bad decision.
Yeah.
And that's what is this whole paradigm is about, to avoid you as a person picking another person to be in a relationship with that is is actually worse than being alone.
yeah.
That's it.
100%.
No, it was definitely interesting what you said about that. But I do have a question. Like, what do you think is like the major difference, like from a psychological standpoint, between males getting partners and females acquiring partners?
Yeah, I think it's a strategy of each gender, and the male strategy is to really, in earlier times, like millions of years ago, to make as many women as possible pregnant, and therefore provide for all of them.
Mhm.
Like, and the female strategy is to find a single man that is really able to provide and to guarantee survival. And
Yeah.
stick with that man, and that's also like, obviously a woman can get pregnant in 9 months, and then the next time she can get pregnant is 9 months afterwards. And for a man, he can impregnate several women a day. So the man has obviously more chances to replicate than women have, and also the risk that a man has when having sex is way lower, because as a man you're basically just like having sex and then you can leave.
Yeah.
For women, you have the pregnancy, you have the birth, you have raising the child, you have giving it food,
You have a lot of
Yeah.
work ahead of you if that happens.
and
And do you think like what do you think about these roles that you're just talking about? Fuck that the girl that needs to.
The gender rules, like,
Yeah.
what is your perception on it?
what gender rules?
Like
Gender
now
roles,
you
like-
said like the girl that needs to take care of the child, needs to
Yeah,
get food.
like obviously in
It's
today's society,
historical wise. Yeah.
Because
In
these are
today's
very
society-
these are very controversial topics, especially in today's day and age.
Yeah.
Where you, for example, you say something and someone else is like, actually, why should the woman be able to raise it from biologically and like historically? Yes, that is how it is, but a lot of modern people or women or men would say like, hey,
That's not it.
that's not it. Something
But I
different.
agree on
How
that.
would you say?
I agree on that. And today's that society, a lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say that the women is nowadays uh, made for being raising the child and so on. But nevertheless, in the last like millions of years, that was the case, and therefore, I think our genetical information has
The brain hasn't changed completely yet. Yeah,
the-
that's
the
100%.
brain hasn't changed. Our genetical information has stayed or stays like that because compared to our whole living period of humans or of humanity, the part where we basically live in houses, have good food, can go to the supermarket, have a place to sleep, and a roof when it's cold, it's like not even a percent of all human history. So for 99.5%, we were actually in those situations that we lived in caves and we had
Yeah.
to we really had to work our ass off to not die.
No.
And
And then that situation naturally, like the man makes way more sense in biological.
yeah, but this is like the whole red pill discussion. It's very controversial, and I would also not say that this is per se true.
Yeah.
But in tendency, when you look on the biological um, characteristics of each gender, it makes more sense. Especially that a woman, for example, can only get pregnant one time in 9 months, and a man can, in general, impregnate a lot of women in a short amount of time. And yeah, that's for me like one of the reasons. But why did you ask the question again? Like the difference between the genders.
No, because you were saying you were talking about the fact that the difference between the two genders.
Yeah, the difference, like you were talking
Yeah.
about the biological difference.
Yeah.
When
And-
like if a girls want to approach a guy, you always told me she just gave signs.
Yeah, but
Well,
I mean, as humans, we are like there are only, I think, 6 species in the world that are like that do monogamy, and the humans are by nature not doing it. And you can see, for example, our like closest relevance, which is like some sort of monkey. I don't know what monkey it was,
Yeah.
but all monkeys are not
Neanderthals.
or Neanderthals.
Yeah.
All even Neanderthals and all monkeys were not staying for a living with one single or person or other monkey. So that's and then I wonder why should humans do that? Like it's biologically maybe in society wise it makes sense, but biologically seen, I don't think that it makes sense to be like with one person for the rest of your life in a biological view.
okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
From a biological standpoint. And if say for example, I'm a modern person, just in a regular day, and I say I don't agree with that. I think that that as a person, as a woman, for example, I want to work, and you go take care of the child. Sure, I'll birth him, but you take care of him, and I'll actually go make money because I
Yeah.
can. You know.
I wouldn't like tell you to not do it.
Yeah.
I mean it's totally fine. And the only reason I think that in the last 2 million years it was vice versa, so that in tendency
Yeah.
the men were going out. It's like because of the physical stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I want to say
characteristics.
one thing. A lot of modern women say things like that, but then in most of the cases they don't go out with guys that are not providers. Most of the cases they still think that the guy that looks like someone that can provide for them
Yeah.
is the best
Yeah.
guy, is the best choice.
Yeah.
So usually it's a little bit controversy when girls say, "Oh, okay, I want to be independent at all," but then they take a guy that is gonna it's like a provider
Yeah.
kind of guy that probably you saw the value in him just for that. And as soon as he starts, like he stops working and he stops providing, there's a high chance that you're probably you're not going to look at him the same way, 100%. I
Yeah,
think
true.
you're gonna
That's true.
his value is going to decrease enormously also for you, and that's why in my opinion a lot of modern like families, especially like independent women, they have divorce.
Yeah, true. Like,
But I don't know,
this is-
that's like really controversy, but at the same time it's something that sometimes I really think about is that okay, but if you want me to decrease my value, it's pretty strange. I don't know.
yeah. Like there were a couple statistics. I think you do know them about like the amount of divorcees that happen yearly now. Like for example, in the Western world, or the amount of like girls that or no oh no that there how many relationships there are, how many men are in relationships. And I think the statistic was like 80% of men are not in relationships and 20% of men are. Or is it?
I don't know the exact number,
Yeah.
but I think I don't know. I think 2019, I think 60% of asked men were not in a relationship. That's what I know. And to the point with what's the other point?
The statistics.
The statistics, yeah, about the divorce
The
rates.
divorcees, yeah.
They're also true that, especially in Western countries, over the last like 60 years, that divorce rates have increased by like, I don't know the exact number, but they have really increased a lot.
Yeah.
And today, even every second marriage ends in a divorce.
Here's the thing. It's not only that. Not even the Western world only. Look at Japan. You know, was it
Yeah.
Japan or was it no South Korea? I think it was either one
Okay.
of those. It was that there's more women than men, and that because of that, like that's where it was from. I think like 80% of men are like they don't have relationships there, and so because a lot of women are just like, we don't need you, you know. What do you say to a woman that says, I don't need you, like we don't need men?
Yeah, I would say that's like,
Is it again? It's a personal opinion.
yeah, for
thing.
me, she can think that. If a
Yeah.
woman thinks that, that's totally
I don't
fine.
care,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But I, for myself, would wonder why she says it and what's the source of like her
Her motivation.
Trauma behind it.
Yeah. No, her motivation
her
behind
motivation,
it.
yeah.
If she's and maybe she really thinks it and it's just okay. But I think a lot of women that are saying such things are sort of wanting to degrade men.
Yeah, but that's really sad. Not for degrading men,
Yeah.
but for reproduction, like for kids.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's
also
for me. That's
declining.
why I think
Yeah.
it could be sad. Like where women don't want men, so they would rather not, like would rather
Reproduce.
not having child because they don't want to be with a man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's
What do you think are the leading causes for that?
for women saying they don't need men.
No. For to like coming to the point where like childbirth is declining.
I think there are three factors that decide the childbirth, which are how religious is a country, how wealthy is a country, and like is there some sort of crisis or something? Like is there some I don't know.
Is it before a
disease going
crisis or
around?
after a
Yeah,
crisis or in the
exactly.
middle of
And-
it?
And I think it's actually applicable for every country in the world.
Yeah.
When you have a high religion and a very bad like society wealth,
Mhm.
there are most birth rates. Like I think in Ecuador, you have like, I don't know, over 5 per person
Per
And,
capita, yeah.
Yeah, in Canada or in Germany, it's under 2. So I think that
Those are the
decides.
3 factors.
Yeah, and I think as soon as wealth of a society decreases, it's a very natural instinct of women of people
Because they need
to
to
reproduce.
work.
Reproduce. That's it. I think as soon as the wealth decreases a lot, it's very normal that reproduction raises. That's
Yeah.
in my opinion normal.
Okay. I would switch a little bit the argument, and I would like to ask you some actionable steps that a person can do that right now was in the same situation you were a few years ago in order to get better, getting better social skills.
Yeah. Like what are the
Like
steps
some
he has to
actionable
take?
steps, because you told me like Okay, go outside. So how would you structure it?
So first of all, I
Like
would
something that he could do today, like start doing today.
Yeah.
instantly today.
Instantly today, what are the steps he could take to start improving his social skills?
So first of all, I would start with myself as a person to reflect on my motivation and my purpose, and then I would think about what what do I want out of this? Why am I doing this? Blah blah blah. Because it's very essential to know that to stay motivated. Because if you don't have a why, you will, yeah, at some point when you get frustrated, you will stop. So first of all, I would make that clear, a clear why, and then I would just start going out and yeah, talking, like approaching girls, just asking them, hey,
And write down like what.
yeah, you don't have to write it down, but then
Keep it in your
Remember
mind.
it.
remember what you did wrong, what you can do better, and yeah, that's like
Yeah.
just do
And
something.
which do you think are the better situations to approach girls like this?
Like where?
This way?
Like
where?
Where
What are the
also
areas you
doesn't
can go
really
to?
depend. I would say
The Hague Center.
what
The Hague Center.
so somewhere like where a lot of people are, like
Mhm.
that you have a high frequency where you can approach, and yeah, of course clubs are more in an environment where it's normal to talk to girls, and on the street when you approach a girl on the street it's less common to do it, but both situations are possible. I would say again, it doesn't matter which situation is better or which isn't. You just use every situation, and therefore you get the most results no matter if it was a good or a bad situation. So
Cool.
that's what I would say. Focus on the doing, because no matter what, you either win or you learn. That's the
Okay.
thing.
Three
And-
sentences that you need to say to girls, like as a first sentence to start to
Honestly?
approach.
Yeah,
them. Like,
give a sneak peek of what the
Really?
framework
Yeah.
is.
like it depends. Do you want to do in a club or in the city?
say,
so
say for
let's-
example, on the
two,
street,
yeah,
street.
one in the street. Yeah, let's
and
like,
there's like two girls, or no, she's
again-
in a group with three girls.
Yeah, it doesn't. Again, it doesn't really depend on what you say, but more on, like, again, the
How you say
frameworks
it.
that you or your self perception. But on a verbal level, I would on the street first start with an empathy statement, saying like that it might be weird in the middle of the street because it can really overwhelm people, and then I would just tell her the interest, and then I would start a conversation. So I would say, I know it's maybe weird that you're around with your friends here, and I don't want to sell you something, but I saw you walking by, and I really have to say your style looks cute, for example. And yeah, then you're basically
Usually
and
they
then you
laugh.
continue the,
Usually they laugh at that point.
yeah.
yeah. Usually, if you're lucky, no, you can also get rejected, but that's it. But then you normally have a conversation. Then you can, yeah, basically like a normal human being proceed like in a normal conversation. So that's it. But then
Like a normal human being. You guys would you know, it's crazy if you think about it, but a lot of people don't know how to actually act like a normal human being,
Yeah.
especially when they're
They
talking.
look like robots.
Like especially if they're nervous. Like
Yeah.
I get it, you know, like you're nervous and you try and talk and then nothing comes out right.
But that's again the framework. I think talking to my best friends or to my family, I never run out of things to say. So the problem of obviously is not that I have nothing in mind that I could say. The problem is the person I talk to. So again, what is different from a family member to a girl that I find attractive? Why am I nervous for this girl? Because obviously I want to prove her something. I want to prove her I am cool. You should talk to me. I want to qualify myself. And that's again like the underlying framework. If you come from that framework, I have to qualify myself. I have to tell her that I'm cool. I have to prove her that I'm not a weird guy. Then you obviously you become stuck in your head because you think, what can I say? What can I say? What can I say? I have to sound cool. I have to sound cool. And when I'm talking to you guys or in general to people I know and stuff,
It's different. You're
don't
just
have to-
present.
yeah.
Do you think
I have
it's
the thoughts.
like really important to be like present? Just
Yes.
don't giving a fuck about, not completely, but I mean like really
And just
go
con-
with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes like hand in hand with the outcome independence. When you really don't care about the outcome, you cannot be unpresent. Like when you really think,
Yeah,
I
because you
I
don't think
care.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because not thinking in the future, if you cannot think in the future, you're free from worries because
You're free
time-
from anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah, time is the cause of all pain. Imagine there was no time, what would you then worry about?
Yeah.
you couldn't. It's like there's just the moment, and I think that's very powerful.
Yeah.
And a person is also women will also notice when you're not completely present and you're like looking around. Oh, I'm nervous. Um, they will notice it.
Do you think alcohol helps?
Yes,
What?
alcohol.
Alcohol.
I think alcohol decreases the thinking, the social anxiety,
Yeah.
and therefore people tend to think less. Oh, is this appropriate? Is this not appropriate?
Yeah, and they just do it.
They just do it, which makes them present. But again, I wouldn't see alcohol as something necessary.
As a
Yeah.
tool. That if you get
Guys,
used to that,
don't
then,
go in the streets in the afternoon after drinking.
yeah, after
in
drinking and
vodka,
just trying to approach
in order
people.
to approach
It
girls.
usually doesn't work. You know,
Yeah.
talking from a friend, it usually doesn't work because you know when you have been drinking and you try and approach someone, they can literally sense from you that you have drank, and that's an immediate
You can
turn off
smell it.
almost.
True. Yeah. It's like you're instantly getting in a
Put in a
direct-
category.
Yeah,
Yeah.
put in a category. And I think if you drink like 1 or 2 beers, like an
Yeah, it's
adult man,
okay.
it's okay because you're not. But afterwards, you tend to think you behave normal.
Yeah,
But you're
But
not.
But you're
obviously,
not.
You
from,
don't.
from an
Yeah.
external perspective, you're obviously drunk. So I think 2 beers, if you think it's something that really helps you, then drink 2 beers. But I wouldn't drink more. I would like advise drinking
Being
nothing.
conscious.
Don't even drink, honestly.
Yeah.
For this done.
Yeah.
But from like a girl's perspective, like, do they like getting approached on the street? Like, because I've heard honestly from, yeah, I've heard that when you approach a beautiful girl on the street, the likelihood of her actually saying yes is like much higher because no one else does that. You know, like
It's not that common.
it's not that common. It doesn't happen often, and because they also show, you
in
know,
the club, you just sounds like
you-
everybody else.
Exactly. It shows that you actually have balls or not like the guts to actually approach her and actually talk to her.
Yeah, I think it depends. So first of all, it depends on the emotional situation. Like, say for example, a girl had a super stressful day, then her grandma died, her dog was hit by a car, and whatever.
Okay.
And then you walk up to her, and you talk to her. Then obviously she's maybe not so receptive. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I think obviously, I think she should not be receptive.
so that's first of all the emotional situation, and second, it has to do with how you were raised as a or how we how you were raised as a person. If your mom told you, or if you're from an environment where where men are, you shouldn't like talk to men on the street, it's blah blah blah, it's
Yeah.
if you do so you're unfaithful to other future husbands, whatever. If you're very conservative, then it might be weird for you. But I think like from all girls I've approached on the street, like 95% react positively. But again, if you do it in the right way, if you walk up to her and you ask her, hey, bitch, you look so hot,
Bitch, you look hot.
then obviously probably 90% are going to be pissed off.
Yeah,
So
react negatively.
it depends on the way you do it. But if you do it in a good way and you're respectful and stuff, then
Guys, go talk to girls.
Go talk to girls. It
One
helps.
thing
It helps
I
it a
want to
lot.
say
Yeah.
is that I would like to add is that Hannes, it's I think a few months, maybe even sooner.
yeah.
He's probably gonna launch. His
Yeah, he's gonna
course.
launch his courses
Um,
on
So,
the. Where's it gonna
about-
launch?
What
Where's it gonna launch?
And what's the name also?
And what was the name?
the name like
Tell us about your courses
Yeah,
that you're
exactly.
creating.
so
Because
first of
I
all,
think a lot of people might be interested in the topic about getting social skills. Because
Yeah.
guys, it's not all about girls, but these are social skills that you're gonna need it. Also,
In
like
business,
in networking
yeah.
events, that like we have.
But also just business, you know. It
Yeah,
it, it, it
everything.
helped me a lot too.
yeah, because we
you know,
went out together.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
approaching girls.
basically, just some facts. It's like an 8-week mentoring program or course where we start with your self perception, because as I already mentioned several times now, that's the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're looking at social dynamics, and then it really gets to what should I say, where should I say it, when should I say it, how should I say it, how
The
should I behave,
the technical stuff. yeah.
technical stuff. And we're looking at pitfalls, mistakes that people do a lot, and
You have
Also-
also calls, right?
also calls, and female psychology as the last chapter, and like to understand like thinking patterns, how the genders differentiate in their thinking patterns, and also calls exactly when our like when we personally or reflect on each
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
And that's like with as goal to make you the most confident person you can be, you know, whether that's
Yeah.
social skills,
That's
women.
I first of all, I can tell everyone you won't become a total different person in 8 weeks. And
100%.
everyone who tells you you're gonna get another person in 8 weeks is basically either having a miracle, which
I
would
wanted, I
love
wanted to make
experience,
a lot of money
yeah,
from
or they're just lying, right? And yeah, it's just made to give you a solid foundation where you can really build up on, and where you haven't, yeah.
And then with the calls, you
intermediate
get the
skill set.
you can give feedback about their experience.
Right. It's like pointing or giving you the direction, but still like with everything else, you have to work yourself. Like
Yeah.
I can no coach will make you successful, or like
Like
it's only an help.
it's not that you buy a course, then you're gonna get a girl.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
the course itself won't bring you girls. It's
You,
like
you don't sell girls.
not yet.
Yeah, yeah.
AJ does.
Hey man.
Oh yeah. No.
All right. Well, this was a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Definitely. I want to thank Hannes for actually taking the time to be here.
Yeah, sure.
And if you guys want to, you know, find Hannes, we'll link down his, you know, his Instagram and courses, etc. If it's launched, so you can like promote it there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if you guys like
let
this,
us, yeah, exactly.
if you guys like this type of content, we decided to do something different. It's still in self-improvement, but now in more social skills. And yeah, we hope you like it. And I think we'll end it off with a quote.
With a quote.
yeah,
With a quote. So tell
Also
me
just-
just a
just-
quote.
Any quote.
yeah.
Bro, you kind of overwhelm me. Let me think.
Okay, we'll go to yours last. Okay,
Okay.
Francesco. Oh, okay, fine. All right. Average is the enemy. Success is your responsibility. That's my quote.
Yeah, my quote is the same as last time. Always keep walking.
Johnny Walker.
Johnny.
That's a quote from Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker.
I think we have to cut this out.
Yeah.
No, you
I
you can
can't- I can't think
say
of-
it, you can say it, you can
Just
make your
search
own
it.
quote.
I know like 2 quotes maybe. I know Warren Buffett.
No, you know your own quote. You can you can quote yourself.
Yeah,
I
you
can
can
quote
say
myself.
whatever you
Yeah.
want. Yeah. Also embrace the unknown.
Every
Become-
every good change is a slow change. That's what I want to say.
All right.
Pretty cool.
Sounds good. Well, thank you everybody for listening in, and we'll see you on the next episode of Untalked.